Success is never ending, failure is never final. If you can dream it, you can do it. No matter where you are in life, no matter who you are, no matter what you have accomplished, no matter when and where or why you have failed, I challenge you to answer the following questions. What dreams would you be setting for yourself if you knew you could not fail? What goals would you have on the drawing board if you had unlimited financial resources? What plans would you be making if you knew you could pull them off? What projects would you be launching if you had the wisdom to solve the problems and the power to sweep all obstacles out of your way? What exciting work would you be engaged in today if you could acquire the skill to sell your ideas to powerful people? Anybody can dream, anybody can plan. As it says in the song, when you wish upon a star, make no difference who you are. Success will be never ending and failure will never be final for those people who have the capacity to dream. In 1955, when I arrived in California to begin a church, only 2 miles away, Walt Disney was burning orange trees to build a place called Disneyland. On my all, I have this line from my celebrated neighbor. Somehow I can't believe there are many heights that can't be scaled by a man who knows the secret of making dreams come true. This special secret can be summarized in 4 C's. They are curiosity, confidence, courage, and constancy, and the greatest of them is confidence. Walt Disney knew the secret of making his dreams come true. It's possible for you to make yours come true too. Everything starts, of course, with an idea and a dream. Everybody has idea pass through their minds. The only difference is what to do with those ideas. The truth is that many of us have been somehow and something great and thought, how did they do it? That perhaps you had an idea too, but you did nothing about it. The great people are no different from you and me. They simply grabbed the great idea before they disappeared into oblivion. They took an option out of it, they wrote it down, and so they wouldn't forget it. It became a dream. Then intuitively or through training, they learned how to make their dreams come true. They had the 4 C's. You can dream it if you have curiosity. What single quality do we find in the mental activity of the dreamer and doer's creative? Curiosity. Curiosity is a dynamic portion of the mind that provokes the questions that release creativity. For millennia, people were under trees only to have apples fall and hit them on the head. For millennia, the human response was predictable. Ouch! Oh gosh, what an apple! Then one day, according to the legend, a man was hit on the head of an apple and he responded with creative curiosity. He asked, why did the apple fall on me instead of rising up and floating away like a cloud, a feather, or a leaf? Why do leaves fly away while apple falls down? The curiosity led Newton to discover the law of gravity. In the 20 years since I wrote my next book, Move Ahead with Possibility Thinking, I have received responses from thousands of persons who tried possibility thinking and found that it released the capacity to be creative. Curiosity turned them into problem solvers and decision makers. The right questions release possibilities. Just think, what happens if you ask possibility to reviewing questions like, why is it impossible? Why would it take turn to this impossibility into possibility? Where could financing be found or make it possible? Would it be possible if I had the right team, materials, deadline, extension? The right questions release confidence. Start asking questions that reflect creative curiosity. Curiosity questions to build your self-confidence or rebuild your faltering of fractured self-respect. If others can go from nothing to something, why can't I? If others have moved from their poverty into prosperity, why can't I? If others have academic recordings as well as or worse than mine, went back to earn educations and become lawyers, ministers, accountants, or doctors, why can't I? If others have been forgiven, restored, rehabilitated, why can't I make a comeback too? If I try it again, start over once more, won't I be a wiser person the next time around? Can't I learn from my mistakes and failures? Can't I turn them into positive forces for personal improvement? And if so, failures won't be final at all, only a cause for recognition, reorganization. The right questions release creative solutions. Ask questions that lead you to people who are smarter than you are. Who in the world could possibly figure out the solution to this problem? What kind of skills and talents do I need to turn this problem into a possibility. Ask questions that might clarify distortions in your thinking. Is the question as serious as I am making it? What's the worst that could happen? Can I live with that? And if I think not, why not? Others are. Why couldn't I? If those worst comes to worst, can I turn this obstacle into an opportunity, the scar into a star? The right questions release motivation. Ask questions that can turn you into a self-starter. Remember, nobody else can motivate you until you motivate yourself. Ask questions that generate energy deep from within your being, such as, if I simply made a start, could I accomplish just a little bit? If I accomplished a little bit, will that be the beginning or something that can slowly and swiftly be expanded? If I save dollars, do they not accumulate but be multiplied? How long will it take before a little bit of money invested, compounded with interest, will give me a down payment to get started? If I start my days earlier, work later, put in more time and effort, what will happen? I was a student in theological seminary when I was introduced to a minister who started as a young man, a church with only about 30 members, but he spent over 40 years in that one church. When he completed his ministry, it was the largest Baptist church in the world, the first Baptist church in Dallas, Texas. His name is George Tourette. That story provoked my curiosity. What will happen if I spend my whole life in one church? And if I kept building year after year, decade after decade, achievement upon achievement, where could that lead? Out of those questions, the dream to build a great church was born. When I came to California without money and members and could find no empty building to rent, I noticed the drive through windows at banks as well as the drive-in theaters. The curious question that came into my mind was, would a drive-in church work? If not, why not? And if anybody could do it, why not I? Out of the creative questions came the dream of a drive-in church. Out of the motivating questions came the energy to see the dream through. Out of the possibility questions came the solutions until the dream came true. Curiosity is a necessity for every dreamer and every doer. You can dream if you have confidence. In addition to curiosity, the dreamer needs confidence, so tap into the power of 5 words. I can do it too. Verbalize these enthusiasm producing words. Say them aloud to yourself. Announce them to your positive thinking friends. I can do it too. Have confidence in yourself as well as in your dream. Dreamers who become doers operate emotionally and rationally with the confidence in their intelligence, confidence in their children, hidden instincts, confidence in their silent and secret intuition. Intelligence, instinct, intuition, all can be instruments of divine guidance, and we can have confidence if we believe that our wonderful positive ideas are treated in the mind of God. Be confident of this very thing, that he who has begun a good work in you will complete it. Have confidence in whatever intelligence you have, but do not confuse education with intelligence. Real intelligence is rooted in the subconscious and the ability to recognize and respond enthusiastically to positive possibilities. Such intelligence and inherited or acquired sensitivity to perceive universal principles and to respond creatively by applying those principles forthrightly. Education is the acquisition of knowledge, and important as it is, knowledge cannot take place of wisdom, for wisdom is the ability to use knowledge intelligently. Recognize that formal education may or may not be the solid basis for responsible self-confidence. If the academic degrees have increased knowledge but have diminished wisdom, then formal education has become counterproductive. Now, a few persons with advanced degrees have acquired facts and knowledge but have been mentally conditioned to negative thinking by cynical and negative thinking professors. Unfortunately and unnecessarily, too many educated persons with impressive diplomas are at the bottom of every ladder. About them can be found a surprising number of persons with less formal education of differences and added awareness that attitude is more important than knowledge. And though facts are the lifeblood of knowledge, attitude is the lifeblood of wisdom. Indeed, the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega of accomplishments is wisdom. So possibility thinking is a positive mental conditioning of human attitudes to produce wisdom. And when we have the wisdom to be a possibility thinker, we are wise indeed. Now let us add to wisdom all the knowledge we can acquire. But knowledge, wisdom, without the wisdom of a positive mental attitude will produce an educated negative thinker who explains why a formal education is not enough. It comes down to this: if you will make a deliberate decision to develop a positive attitude towards opportunities and obstacles, you are on your way toward having what is the most important quality in education, the power of positive thinking. Now that you have confidence in your self confidence, you have confidence in what you have learned in life. That's education, whether acquired in a classroom or in the school of hard knocks or by authentic experience. Keep on getting as smart as you can and smarter. Either acquire knowledge to manage your dream successfully or know where to go to find people who are smarter than you are. People who can provide legal counsel, financial counsel, and other technical knowledge. Success goes to people who are super smart possibility thinkers. Now have confidence in your instincts. Someone said when God wants to guarantee a truth in one of his creatures, he ingrains the reality in their instincts. A bird creates its nest, a salmon returns to its place of origin. The human beings operate successfully on hunches, best described as instinctive. In such instinctive behavior, a part of what's often called intuition, perhaps it is. If so, then have confidence in your intuition. It has been my privilege to learn from and become friends with some of the greatest psychiatrists of our century. I once asked Dr. Viktor Frankl, who was then head of the psychiatry at the University of Vienna, Austria, what is the intuition? His answer was simple and honest: nobody knows. I asked the same question of Dr. Carl Kenz's same answer. The psychiatrist Scott Peck pointed out in his book, Road Less Traveled. The subconscious is always ahead of conscious. Is intuition an emotional judgment that has been made by the subconscious, which accumulates all of our experiences, observations, perceptions, including the entire memory bank of living and learning? I suggest that any explanation of intuition or instinct which fails to acknowledge the presence of power of God is indeed short-sighted and intellectually irresponsible. My simple testimony is that I have prayed for simple guidance all my life in everything that I have thought and done. Consequently, I've learned to trust my God-given instincts. We hired Philip Johnson to design the Crystal Cathedral because he is, in my opinion, the greatest architect in the world. In our first meeting, I told him that I wanted all glasses church so people could see in and out. Elaborating, I said, I think a healthy person who is emotionally and spiritually mature will be an open person. Let the structure make that statement. Soon I received a call from Philip. He was eager to show me his first plans. They called for an all-glass roof supporting by solid walls. Frankly, I was less than enthusiastic. Philip sensed my lack of excitement and said, "What's wrong?" I covered my true feelings, said nothing. He protested, "Come on, Bob. Why aren't you more excited?" I was afraid. To be honest with him, I said, as much as Philip, sir, who am I, a minister, to challenge the world's greatest architect? He looked sternly at me and said, "Bob, if we want to work together, you better learn one thing right now and you don't ever forget it." He started long and hard to look at me. What is it? Architecture is too important to leave up to the architect. Architecture is too important to leave up to the architect. That gave me the confidence to speak up. Well, I wanted the walls to be glass too. The result, Philip went back to the drawing board and created one of the greatest masterpieces, the Crystal Cathedral. Architecture is too important to leave to the architects. Education is too important to leave to the educators. Science is too important to leave to the scientists. The whole subject of war and peace is too important to leave to the State Department and the military experts. Business is too important to leave to the business persons. The economy, especially when you pay the bills, is too important to leave to economists. Surely religion is too important to leave to the theologians. Creativity is too important to leave to artists. So dare to believe that your ideas are worthwhile and have confidence in your God-given instincts. More often than not, they will be right. More often than not, they will be right. You can dream if you have courage. Jeb Stott was a loyal follower of General Robert E. Lee. He was a courageous officer and a man of integrity who always signed his letters in the journal, "You can count on me, Jeb." Frankly, that's the commitment I have made to my God who gives me positive ideas. I have faith. If you will entrust the dream to me, Lord, you can count on me. I won't let it fly away. I'll do something with it. I'll give it the best that I can. Courage. Yes, integrity, absolutely, as well, courage. Integrity for courage is really honesty. When you see someone who's operating with real courage, they are actually exhibiting integrity. They have to do what they are doing or they would be disloyal. I hope you will come to believe, as I do, that our dreams are entrusted to our care and keeping by God, with the obligation to turn ideas into creative action. Then, as an honest trustee, you will be so motivated by integrity that you will have no place for fear. I learned this lesson as a child growing up in a farm where we raised milk cows. They had to be milked every morning and every night without a single exception, come hell or high water, as the farmers put it, no matter what. And it was my chore to milk. No problem ever got in the way of doing it what I had to do. Call that responsibility, call it accountability. It adds up to integrity. The integrity leaves little room for fear. And when that negative emotion threatens, turn it into a positive force. Here is how. Fear not that you might fail. Fear rather that you might never succeed if you never dare to try. Fear not that you might make a mistake believing in your dreams. Fear rather that if you don't go for it, you might stand before God and He'll tell you that you could have succeeded if you had more faith. Fear not that if it doesn't work out, you will be embarrassed. Fear rather that if you don't try, the time will only prove you could have succeeded. The saddest words of the tongue or pain are these: I might have been. Fear not that you might fail. Fear rather that you will have never succeed if you don't start taking risks. Fear not that you might be hurt. Fear rather that you might never grow if you keep waiting for pending success. Fear not that you might have lose and love. Fear rather that you might never love at all. Fear not that others might laugh at your mistakes. Fear rather that God will say to you, O you of little faith. Fear not that you might fall again. Fear rather that you might have made it the next time if you had only tried once more and given it all you had. Failure doesn't mean you were dumb to try. It means you had courage to explore and experiment to see what would work and what would not. Failure doesn't mean you don't know how to make decisions. It just means you have to make another decision. You can overcome the fear of failure when you redefine that word. Failure doesn't mean you are a failure. It does mean you haven't succeeded yet. Failure doesn't mean you have accomplished nothing. It does mean you have learned something. Failure doesn't mean you have been a fool. It does mean you had a lot of faith. Failure doesn't mean you have been disgraced. It does mean you were willing to try. Failure doesn't mean if you don't have it. It does mean you have to do something in a different way. Failure doesn't mean you are inferior. It does mean you are not perfect. Failure doesn't mean you have wasted your life. It does mean you have a reason to start afresh. Failure doesn't mean you should give up. It does mean you must try harder. Failure doesn't mean you'll never make it. It does mean it will take a little longer. Failure doesn't mean God has abandoned you. It does mean God has a better idea. Failure doesn't mean you have finished. It does mean you have a chance to try something new. So it's true, failure is never final. Do you want to stay where you are the rest of your life? God has bigger and better things for you and me, but we will never advance until we take a chance. Taking a chance means running the risk of personal failure and real hurt. It requires courage. I ran into a young man in an airport in Texas. He happened to be carrying a copy of my books. Tough times never last, but tough people do. He recognized me. He came to me and said, "Can I have your autograph?" Of course, I was glad to give it to him. Dr. Schooler, this book has really helped me. I'm in absolute bankruptcy. I started my own business, but I lost everything I ever had. My business is going pretty good. I expanded with a new plant and more equipment. I was making quite a bit. Suddenly the other people who owed me money didn't pay. The little business went down the tubes. Then a couple of big businesses went under. I looked at my accounts receivable and suddenly everything I had expected to take in had withered away. My accounts receivable were worth nothing. When what happened, I went under too. That's where I am today. But your book is helping. I looked at the intelligent young businessman and said, first of all, let me correct you. You haven't lost everything you had. Oh, but I have. No, I don't think you have had something before. You had a business, you had a dream, and you had the nerve to try, and you haven't lost that. I think I have. Oh, no, nobody ever loses courage. Courage is something you can never lose, because courage is something that you can always choose. The truth is that courage is a gift. Courage is a decision. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of a calling, a dream that puts you beyond yourself. Hence, it is something you can never lose. It is always something that you can choose. You so choose it today. You can dream if you can maintain constancy. Follow it through, wrap it up, complete the work, never pack it up. I came to California 30 years ago there with a 40-year plan. That's what I call constancy. Stick with your dream even if you get knocked down. Tap into the incredibly power generated by an uncompromising commitment to constancy. In the first 30 years of my ministry, I was pinpointing more than a dozen times when, for a variety of reasons, I wanted to walk away. I would have given anything if I could have quit, run away, never come back. What kept me from living the dream, turning my back to it? A Bible verse, for one thing. No one having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God. No one having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of God. Another thought: when things get rough, don't move people and precious ships, but the soil remains the same no matter where you go. Finally, I was and I am a great believer in the base building. Walk away and you lose whatever base you have built. Goodwill, professional connections, community and respect, first-hand knowledge of an area or activity, and accumulated power that would be tough to discard. Troubles pass, but bases are tough to replace. Constancy means stick to itiveness and follow through. Every salesperson knows this, what separates winners from losers. Follow through. Every successful manager knows that without constant reviews and rechecking, great projects can fall into little cracks and die before they are rescued. I was ministering to the military in the Orient during the Vietnam War. The headquarters of the medical evacuation effort was located in Tekwa, Japan. The commanding general shared with me how successful the efforts had been in the Vietnamese War. I'll tell you something you'll find hard to believe, Dr. Skiller, the commanding general, said. But in this war, we have only lost 11 lives in transit. We studied the facilities of the Korean War and World War II and noticed that many deaths occurred with a patient was being moved in planes, trains, ambulances, boats. Understandably, we are limited in what we can do to save a life if we are in the air or on the road. And so we never let the helicopter take off or allowed the ambulance to roll until we were sure the patient could withstand the trip. Now, Dr. Skiller, step into our command room and you will see that the 3 words that have saved these lives, 3 words that every doctor, nurse, and little bearer has to live by. I stepped into a huge room, half the size of the football field. On one wall with the map of the Orient, the Pacific, and the America lies blent, where hospital and transportation lines were in place, and about the entire wall from one end to the other were 3 words with letters that must have been 6 to 8 feet high. The 3 life-saving words were check, double check, recheck. Often we caught the problem in our third checking and saved a life. That's follow through, the journey. Follow through. And the word that illustrates constancy is bounce back ability. Your enthusiasm may dip for a moment, your excitement may rise and fall, but you will never become so depressed and discouraged that you quit. I know your dream may have been smashed, the company has gone bankrupt, or you have been passed by the promotion, perhaps the marriage is over, or you lost the love of your life, your dream has died. Now what you do? Believe in the power of God to give you a new dream, to help you make a mark for good while you still live, and bear in mind that if you can dream it, you can do it. Time and again I have seen this principle at work. You can do it. Think you can, think you can't. Either way, you will be right, I can say the young wife and mother. Mary Chandler was making a potato salad and coleslaw in a dedication in Los Angeles during World War II. Her boss asked her to make pies for lunch crowd. That was the start of the new career for Mary. At first, she baked the pies at home, dragging flour sacks that weighed over the 400 pounds each. Then, 1948, she and her husband sold their car and bought a concert hut, an oven and a refrigerator. There she baked pies with her husband delivered to restaurants in the area. He started out baking about 10 pies a day. 2 years later, she was baking over 200 pies a day. 16 years later, several thousands were coming out of the oven each day. Mary and her husband opened the first pie shop in Orange County, 1964, the first year that Mary broke even. But her husband and the later her son helped guide the business until the chain of the restaurants spread through 14 states. In no time, people were talking about Mary Chandler pies. They were undoubtedly the best of the to be found anywhere, and other items added to the menu were also exceptional in quality and taste. In 1986, Lameda Inc. bought the family business 115 restaurants from Mary and her sons for $90 million. It was a tremendous accomplishment. Who would have thought that a young mother armed with a rolling pin and a sack of flour could have brought such delicious delight to so many people? Not to mention thousands of jobs for bakers, cooks, waiters, and waitresses. You can do it too. You can make your dreams come true. You can build a new life. You can start over even if you are down and out. Yes, you can be a dreamer and doer too. If you will remove one word from your vocabulary, impossible. Courage is something you can never lose, because courage is something you can always choose. Beautiful. Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. Love you, God. Wow, success is never ending. Failure is never final. If you can dream it, you can do it. No matter where you are in life, no matter who you are, no matter what you have accomplished, no matter when and where or why you have failed, I challenge you to answer the following questions. What dreams would you be setting for yourself if you knew you could not fail? What goals would you have on the drawing board if you had unlimited financial resources? What plans would you be making if you knew you could pull them off? What projects would you be launching if you had the wisdom to solve the problems and the power to sweep all obstacles out of your way? What exciting work would you be engaged in today if you could acquire the skill to sell your ideas to powerful people? Anybody can dream, anybody can plan. As it says in the song, when you wish upon a star, make no difference who you are. Success will be never ending and failure will never be final for those people who have the capacity to dream. In 1955, when I arrived in California to begin a church, only 2 miles away, Walt Disney was burning orange trees to build a place called Disneyland. On my all, I have this line from my celebrated neighbor. Somehow I can't believe there are many heights that can't be scaled by a man who knows the secret of making dreams come true. This special secret can be summarized in 4 C's. They are curiosity, confidence, courage, and constancy, and the greatest of them is confidence. Walt Disney knew the secret of making his dreams come true. It's possible for you to make yours come true too. Everything starts, of course, with an idea and a dream. Everybody has ideas pass through their minds. The only difference is what to do with those ideas. The truth is that many of us have been somehow and something great and thought, how did they do it? That perhaps you had an idea too, but you did nothing about it. The great people are no different from you and me. They simply grabbed the great idea before they disappeared into oblivion. They took an option out of it.